Good morning. The Committee on Parole is called to order this morning. It's 8:44 a.m. Today is Tuesday, April 8th, 2025. My name is Cheryl Renatza, serving as chairman of today's parole panel. My colleagues on the panel, seated to my left is Ms. Carolyn Stapleton, and to my right is Mr. Pete Freeman. We are situated at DOC headquarters in Baton Rouge, and I'd like the staff here, please introduce yourself for the record. And our first remote location this morning for revocation proceedings is at COUPEE Parish Detention Center. Would the staff there please introduce yourself for the record?
Yes, I'm Sergeant James Lee, COUPEE Parish Sheriff's Office.
All right, Sergeant Lee, thanks for accommodating us this morning. Appreciate it. And we have our first offender who's ready. Sir, would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name, DOC number.
KATHLEN Victorian, 460717.
All right, Mr. Victorian, good morning. You are here for a revocation decision. Do you have a parole revocation questionnaire there with you? Any paperwork?
I have yes, ma'am.
Is that your signature at the bottom of that page, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
And based on the information and the answers to those questions on that questionnaire, it would determine you're not eligible counsel. So are you ready to proceed this morning without counsel, without a lawyer?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So the way this will work is I'm going to read the allegations against you, and then you'll enter a plea of guilty or not guilty, and we can talk about each one. Okay. Ready?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you're accused of violating condition number 4, and it states on March 26, 2024, you committed the offenses of possession with the intent to distribute Schedule 1 marijuana, possession with intent to distribute Schedule 1 heroin, possession with intent to distribute Schedule 4 promethazine, possession of a firearm with a controlled dangerous substance, possession of drug paraphernalia as evidence of your arrest by the POINTE Parish Sheriff's Office on March 12, 2025. You pled guilty to 2 counts of misdemeanor possession of marijuana and were sentenced to 6 months on each count to run consecutive. The charges of the possession of the firearm by convicted felon and illegal possession of a weapon, crime of violence, or controlled dangerous substance were now crossed on that same day. So how do you plead to violating condition number 4?
Not guilty.
Okay. So tell us why you plead not guilty.
Because I was ma'am, I was helping my nephew out, and I didn't know that he had this in my house, and he wrote an affidavit stating that he had the guns and drugs in my house and without my knowledge.
All right, we'll talk about that in a minute. The next alleged violation that says it's condition number 5. On March 26, 2024, you were in possession of a firearm as evidenced by your arrest by COUPEE for the possession of a firearm. How do you plead to violating number 5?
Not guilty.
And last is number 10. You failed to make payments in the amount of $1,386. How do you plead to that violation?
Guilty.
Okay, so how long have you been in jail, sir?
1 year.
I do see you were detained in March 26th of 2024. Now, when I read in the reports that were provided to me, so you say your nephew, and that was Travis, right? Travis was staying, had been for a while?
Yes, ma'am.
And you have a 2-bedroom home?
Yes, ma'am.
And the marijuana was found on the kitchen counter during the roundup. And there was the gun in the living room.
From my knowledge, my parole officer said everything was found in the back room.
That's not what the report I read said. Why, so tell us about, why you were behind on your fees.
I was just, I wasn't working and I wasn't really able to pay. I have to pay the class in order to stay out and just my household bills.
Right. So this is what was found in your residence. 4 pints of promethazine, 9.5 ounces of marijuana, a 1/4 kilo of Mexican brown heroin, and the Glock 10mm weapon, which was modified to allow it to fire at full automatic capacity. You're saying your nephew was involved in all of that and you had no idea,
Yes, ma'am.
right? Trying to see where it says they found it. Where's your nephew now?
He's home, I guess.
At your house?
No, ma'am.
All right. Let me ask Sergeant Lee if Mr. Victoran been in any trouble since he's been in there? It looks like he's been in there.
No, ma'am, he's been for lack of a better term, he's been a model inmate. He's given us no disciplinary briefing whatsoever.
All right, good to hear. All right, I'll defer to my colleagues.
Okay, so Mr. Victoran, did you know your nephew did drugs?
Sir,
Did you know your nephew was doing drugs?
I knew that he smoked marijuana, but that's it.
So you let him come live with you, even though you're a convicted felon, and you know he does drugs.
Yes, sir.
Not too smart, is it?
No, sir.
Okay, now the gun was found in the living room. You didn't know the gun was there.
No, sir.
And what about the leafy stuff in the trash can next to your bed? The marijuana.
I didn't even have a trash can in my room, sir.
Okay. Right side of the bedroom was the marijuana and then the cocaine. Okay, thank you.
I don't have any questions. I don't see any other questions, Mr. Victoran. I think we're prepared to vote. You know, your original charge was possession with intent to distribute marijuana. When they were in your home, they had a strong odor of marijuana. All the reports that we have from the incident don't line up with what you're telling us. I find you guilty of violating condition number 4, condition number 5, and condition number 10. So my vote today will be to revoke your parole. Mrs. Stapleton? I concur. Mr. Free?
I concur.
All right, Mr. Victorin, good luck to you, sir. That concludes our business. Sergeant Lee, we're going to close out at 8:53. All right, good morning. The Committee on Parole is reconvening. We're now at David Wade Correctional Center. It is 9 a.m. on Tuesday, April 8, 2024. Would the staff there at Wade please introduce yourself for the record?
Deputy Warden Brenda Ackland.
Thanks for accommodating us. Oops, sorry. Go ahead. Is that everybody?
ARDC manager. Couple more.
Danny Henshaw, classification.
Elizabeth Smith, Elizabeth Savage, Lieutenant Colonel. That's it.
All right, well, thank you. I know y'all got a lot going on there today. We appreciate you accommodating us. They're doing
Yes,
great.
ma'am.
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Our first case there is Mr. Johnson. Mr. Johnson, would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and your DOC number.
My name is Johnie Johnson. My DOC number is 467-539.
All right, Mr. Johnson, good morning. I don't know if you heard the introductions. Let me just introduce who the panel is this morning. My name is Cheryl Renasa. Seated to my left, Mrs. Carolyn Stapleton, and to my right is Mr. Pete Freeman. I want to acknowledge some folks who have joined us today. In support on Zoom is Robin Williams, Eric Hatfield, and Melanie Townsend, all who want to speak on your behalf, and we'll call on them in a few minutes. We have some folks also in opposition on Zoom is we have Taylor Hairston here with us in Baton Rouge at DOC headquarters. We have Brittany Murphy, Eugene Murphy, and Miss Leona Fitzgerald from the Caddo DA's office. And we'll hear from those who have indicated they'd like to speak at the appropriate time. First, Mr. Johnson, I'm going to read some identifying information into the record, and then we'll get started with our process. So, Mr. Johnson, you are classified as a first felony offender. You were sentenced in Caddo Parish, March 12, 2003, for a manslaughter conviction. You received a 40-year sentence, which you are currently serving. Your parole eligibility date was September 29, 2021, and your good time mandatory release date is October 6, 2034. Does that information sound correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Johnson, your case was assigned to me, so we're just going to jump right in. I'd like for you to tell us, explain to us why you're in prison, and why do you think, what have you done since you've been there? Why do you think you deserve favorable consideration for early release?
Okay, I'm in here for killing my ex-girlfriend. And since I have been here, I have attended all the schools that I've been that I'm eligible to go to. I have learned so much since I've been here. Through stress management, I've learned how to deal with my stress, and mostly that's by exercise and deep breathing and that kind of thing. I've been to Celebrate Recovery, and I know that I have to depend on Jesus Christ to get me through all my issues. I tend to substance abuse and take it one day at a time. I mean, each day is today, and I don't have to worry about tomorrow. So yeah, I've been to Celebrate Recovery.
Stress management,
I've been in stress management
living in balance.
and living in the balance, the cage of rage. And I think one of the main things is through stress management that I learned that I need to take a deep breath and just really think about what I'm doing. Is it worth me losing everything that I have attained just easier to walk away?
And I did not mention, this is a rehearing for you. You were, as I said earlier, your parole eligibility date is in the past, but you were denied parole in 2022. And for opposition, and we'll hear from the opposition today, both from law enforcement and victims, and there were insufficient programs. So of those programs that you mentioned, which of those did you complete since 2022?
Reentry,
Yes, I see that you did that 100 hours in 2024. Okay. All right, well, we're gonna, let us hear from Warden Ackland. What can you tell us about Mr. Johnson?
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Johnson has been here at Wade since May of '03. He's been in our protection unit. This time, he has had 2 write-ups since he's been incarcerated, with the last one being in May of 2020 or 2016. He does have a residence plan to go live in Shongaloo, Louisiana. He has a job plan scheduled for landscaping and leather work. The programs that he mentioned were all completed prior to the initial first parole board hearing. And like I said, the last one was the re-entry that he did in 2024. He is not a disciplinary inmate at all. And like I said, he lives in our protection unit. So.
Okay, thank you. We appreciate that information.
Yes, ma'am.
We'll move on and hear from the folks who are here in support. First, could we hear from Robin Williams, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead, tell us what you'd like. What's your relationship to Mr. Johnson, and what would you like us to know?
We've been friends for 37 years. He and my husband were co-workers. And during that time, Johnie has been nothing but a great friend. He, of course, I don't condone what he did. He's, that was a horrific mistake he made, but he has a plan. He's innovative. He has the work ethic. He's not a violent man, other than that one incident. He's more than paid his dues, I believe. He's lost, during his incarceration, he's lost his parents. He has never met his grandchildren. A number of friends and family have turned their backs on him. But he does have a family, his sisters, his daughter, his friends, and us. I believe he's served, of course, these last 24 years. That's, 60% of his sentence. And I believe he is more than paid his dues for this offense. I feel really bad for the family, but I think he's due.
Thank you. We appreciate you taking the time to speak with us this morning.
Thank you very much.
We hear from Melanie Townsend, please.
Yes, ma'am. I'm Melanie. I've known Johnie most of my life. Our fathers were really close friends growing up. What I know about Johnie is I know that he feels remorse, and I know that, if he could go back and redo that day in his life again, he would. He has served his time, and I know that he wishes to be a productive member of society. He's not dangerous to anyone. Johnie is not the sum total of that one bad decision he made, and he's tried to make amends in every way that he can. I know him to be a good person. I do. There is a lot of good in Johnie, and he will be welcome here at our family ranch with myself and my mom, who's now 89 and dearly loves Johnie. He'll have a place, a good, safe place here to reacclimate into life and to be, get his feet on the ground. I know he's prepared for that in every way he possibly can. I know we're all redeemable, and I know what he did was wrong, and it was a horrible day for the family. But Johnie can only go forward to make positive choices in his life, if given that opportunity. And I fully support that, and I do believe he has served his time. I hope you give him the opportunity.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. And then we have Mr. Hatfield. Mr. Hatfield? Oh, he was unable to connect, but he does, is listed as here in support, and that was an employer, I believe. Next, we will hear from the opposition before we have our interview. And so, Ms. Fitzgerald, I'll let you decide who goes first.
Can Taylor go first? He's on Zoom.
Yeah, what is he?
He on the phone.
Mr. Hatfield? Oh, I'm sorry, we'll do Mr. Hatfield. He's on the phone. I'm sorry, I apologize. Mr. Hatfield?
Yes, ma'am. How are you this morning?
Good, I'm sorry. Go ahead and tell us what you'd like us to know about Mr. Johnson.
Yes, sir. Good morning. I know Mr. Johnson through my grandparents and my great grandparents, all his family, they all kind of go together. And so I didn't know this while I was growing up, but I've known him. I've been speaking with him for the past year or so, and I've gone to meet with him a few times, and I'd like to offer him, and I've offered him some employment when he gets out. So in other words, he can come to Shreveport if he's coming to Shreveport, and I'll offer him a full-time position with our development company, doing whatever he's capable of doing. I do believe that I've talked to him numerous times over the past few years or however long it's been, and my grandparents spoke very highly of him, and so I realized everything happens. You know, people have all kind of crazy things that happen in their life that you never know until you get to a situation how you would react or how you would act when it would happen. A lot of times those things have severe consequences, but I do believe that people learn. You know, they learn more from their own mistakes than they would learn from anyone else. And I do believe that after meeting with him, that he is kind and compassionate and very remorseful for what happened in the past, and I'm definitely willing to take a chance and use him with our company, and I've had him around our children, you know, whatever else comes along.
All right, thank you, Mr. Hatfield. We appreciate you phoning in.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you. All right, so now we'll hear from Mr. Murphy. No, that's, oh yeah, I'm sorry.
He's on Zoom.
Okay, sure. Taylor?
Yes, I'll go. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Taylor Hairston, and I'm the youngest son of Jamie Hairston. 10 days after I turned 10 years old, Johnny murdered my mother. The impact of that loss has been profound for me, my brother, and for our entire family, and it still affects us to this day. When Johnny chose to kill my mom, he didn't just end her life. He robbed me of a lifetime of experiences that I should have had with her. He stole moments like graduations, birthdays, holidays, weddings, events that she should have been there for, but wasn't. I was only able to spend 10 short years with my mom, but even those memories were taken away when he chose to kill her. I guess it was a way to cope with the trauma, but my childhood memories before her death have become distant and fragmented. I don't have a clear recollection of much prior to the day that she died. Instead, I spend my time trying to piece those memories together from home videos, photos, stories that my family has shared with me. The first true memory I have related to my mom is of the day that she died and the events that followed. What I remember is riding towards my house. My dad was driving the car. I was 10 years old, and I see police cars, police lights, crime scene tape, and then soon being told that she was dead. Today, I should be able to talk with my mom about those early years of my life, share experiences, and make new memories with her, but that's impossible. Something that I don't speak about often is how Johnny's decision to kill my mom affects my everyday life. I probably haven't even spoken about this publicly before. Like my brother, I've struggled with anxiety and depression for the past 24 years since all of this happened. Losing a parent at such a young age is one of the worst things that can probably happen to a kid. The pain, the fear, the uncertainty of that experience has left me with a constant dread, an anxiety of what bad things might happen to me or the people that I care about. In most every situation, my mind goes straight to the worst case scenario because at 10 years old, Johnny showed me what that could be. That kind of anxiety often affects the decisions that I make, where I go, what I do, the precautions I take when doing so. And to be honest, it's exhausting. It steals the joy that I should feel in so many parts of my life. So as you can see, the murder of my mother has had a lasting effect on my family, but Johnie didn't think about that. Even as a parent himself, he didn't stop to think about what his actions would do to a 10-year-old boy, my family, or even his own family and kids. Instead, he pulled the trigger. Nothing will really make this better, but knowing that he's in jail, serving his sentence, and facing the consequences of his actions gives us some relief. He was sentenced to 40 years, and shortening that sentence will only cause more pain and suffering for our family. Granting his early release would strip us of any justice we've received. With that said, I do oppose Mr. Johnson's early release and ask that you please deny his clemency. Thanks for the time and the opportunity to speak.
Thank you for being here. We appreciate it. All right. Now, Mr. Murphy? Yeah, if you can move over there, then we can get you on the camera. That's okay. Yeah, just,
That's good.
that's perfect.
That's perfect.
Thank you.
All right. Following that's kind of tough. I have a prepared statement, just chat. I too am here as the son of Jamie Harrison. To echo my brother, carrying the weight of this unimaginable trauma of grief and loss. I don't want to necessarily spend too much time on the crime itself, just because I feel like this should be more in line with post the tragedy. But I do want to take you back just for a minute, just to where you know where I'm coming from. It was a normal Saturday. I'm getting ready to watch a football game. My brother was going away for the weekend with his dad. Like I said, it would seem to be a normal Saturday until Mr. Johnson decided to show up to our residence. Him and my mother had been estranged for a handful of weeks. During that time, Mr. Johnson was seen at the top of my road, stalking our home at all hours of the night. He was still friends with sheriff's officers who lived on our road. So he would go spend time in their driveway, staring down the road at our house in the cul-de-sac. And as a law enforcement officer, to echo him, learn to walk away. He was trained that. After multiple decades on the sheriff's department, he was trained to tell families on calls, walk away. He did the opposite. He continuously interjected himself into our road, single lane road on a cul-de-sac where he could watch our home. He showed up that morning, again, then gone. He had already resigned from the sheriff's department during that time frame, so he was no longer a law enforcement officer. I watched him and my mother stand outside his vehicle for a short period of time. Then all of a sudden, she came inside. At that moment, you could see a state of fear, shock, panic. I tried to say what was wrong. I couldn't get the words out because I too had the weight of, I guess you would say, fear come over me. I got up. At that time, I was able to walk a little bit more than I can now. My mom said, call 911, and she threw a cordless phone at me. At that point, I didn't understand really what was happening. I'm 4'11". My mother was 5'1". She weighed about 130 pounds. I weigh about 120 pounds. Mr. Johnson is a trained law enforcement officer that's well over 6 feet and weighs 250 pounds. The two of us began fighting. He mumbled under his breath, "Jamie, it's time, it's time." And at that moment, he picked her up, put her over his shoulders, and walked out of our residence. The only thing I knew to do was try to grab her. But again, the strength of that grown man, I was no match for that. The only thing I knew at that point was to go get my gun. To echo my brother, I've never gone a day since that day without a gun in my possession. It stays in the car, it stays on me every day of the week. I too live in constant fear of what the world could do. I live in constant fear that if that man gets out of prison, what he would come back and do, because I know that I've taken 20 years from him because of what he took from me. He's got another 20 to go. I'll get to that in a minute. I was able to get my gun, but I didn't feel like I had time to get the key. So I tried to beat my gun cabinet that was glass to break it. At that moment, I did not know, but Mr. Johnson had shot my mother 3 times. But I was so deep into my residence and beating on my gun cabinet that I didn't hear the gunshots. So when I obtained my firearm and I went to the front of our house, there was about 10 seconds of just darkness of tunnel vision. And I had my firearm aimed at the back of that man's head while he was driving up my street. I did not pull the trigger because at that time I thought that he had kidnapped my mother. I thought she was in that vehicle and I didn't want to live with the fact that I would accidentally shoot her. So I'm on the phone with 911. I chased that man through the city of Blanchard and PARISH. I lost him. 911 told me to go back home. I'm going about 100 miles an hour to get back home because that's what they told me to do. I was unable to brake, and so when I went into my driveway, I went over my heel. And when I came to a stop, I saw my mother laying on our grassy knoll behind her home. I got out. Again, I had no idea what I was going up to. But I saw my mother laying lifeless and full of her own blood. My mother had been shot in the back of the head. Her tongue, her eyes, everything was coming out of front of her face. I had to live with these images every day of my life. I'm 42 years old and I was 18 years old at the time. That's my sleeping pill. It never goes away. At his trial, Mr. Johnson never looked at me. My testimony, I was in the courtroom because I don't know the terminology. But I waived my right to be recalled as a witness because I wanted to be in the courtroom. I wanted to hear what he had to say. He never looked at me. He never showed remorse. He never showed emotion. Instead, he tried to make himself a victim. He lied, he deflected, he blamed. This man had previously threatened public officials during my mother and his relationship. He threatened his then sitting boss, the sheriff of Caddo Parish. He threatened multiple businessmen that grew up with my mother. He threatened basically any man that she knew because if he couldn't have her, nobody else would. After he committed this act of violence, he called his daughter and he called my grandfather and told them just that he did it and that he couldn't have them, nobody else would. Let me be absolutely clear. I 1000% oppose Mr. Johnson getting released on parole. As my brother stated, I also have 2 children. Both of my children have my disability. I've had to go at this alone with my wife. We're at children's hospitals trying to get their treatment. making sure that they don't progress the way that I progress. My mother would have been an expert in my disability as she was. We don't have that to fall back on. Countless birthdays, holidays, we won't get those. My mother doesn't get a parole hearing. My mother doesn't get to do good time classes to come back from the grave to join us. She's gone forever. You have to go to a cemetery and a headstone. Go to her in quiet time and prayer. That's all we do. Whether Mr. Johnson's incarcerated, he gets his family. He can talk to his family. He gets visitors, as Mr. Hatfield said. He's visited him. He gets that. We don't. My mother's gone forever until the day that we see her in heaven. I'm asking you to deny that man's parole. Keep him in prison for what the trial court said and the appellate court said. He deserves life. I'll settle for 40. He's denied his parole. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Ms. Fitzgerald.
Good morning. I'm Rhiannon Fitzgerald. I'm representing the Caddo Parish DA's office today. We are very much opposed to parole for Mr. Johnson. I mean, I don't know what I can say to follow that up that would be any more convincing to the parole board, but I am standing here wondering if I missed something because, I didn't hear Mr. Johnson. I heard him talk about what he's done and why he should get parole, but I didn't hear anything about Jean and Taylor and Miss Hairston, remorse. I'm sorry for the kids. I think about the kids. I wish I could go back. All I heard was these classes he's taken on conflict resolution and, you know, no offense, but he was a trained deputy. I'm sure he can benefit from the programs in the prison system, but was he not already trained in conflict resolution and de-escalation techniques? So those all went out the window, in September of 2001. So I'm really disappointed in his comments today. And, you know, what he took was Miss Hairston. I knew her. She was a beautiful, vivacious mom. She was very sociable. She worked at my bank. She was a chatty one, I think everybody would say, and I would talk to her when I went in the bank. You knew that her boys were her life and her world, and she took care of them. She was a busy single mom, just, you know, they were just a normal family. And so I think that Mr., you know, throughout the trial, as Jean mentioned, Mr. Johnson tried to deflect and blame, you know, Miss Hairston for basically making him lose his mind and kill her. And so my office contends that this is a second-degree murder. That is what Mr. Hairston was charged with. He chose a bench trial and he received the benefit of being convicted by a judge of the responsive verdict of manslaughter, and he was given 40 years. So in our opinion, we will always firmly believe in the Caddo DA's office that Mr. Johnson has already benefited from a reduced charge and a reduced sentence than what the law says he actually did. So there are just some traumas that these boys experienced that are really unimaginable. As Taylor said, he was 10 years and 10 days old when he lost his mom, his caretaker, and the stable home environment that he had been living in. Jean fought for his mother's life. He didn't just get a call that your mom is deceased. He was there. He lived it. He fought for her. He discovered her. Jean's 911 call is the most heart-wrenching thing that I have ever heard in all of my years. So, you know, there are some males that cannot be unrung. There are no amount of programs, there's no number of classes to make up for the devastation that he chose to cause. So, you know, who else hasn't met their grandchildren? With all due respect to Miss Williams, Jamie Hairston has never met her 4 grandchildren. And that's by no doing of Miss Jamie Hairston. That's by Johnie Johnson's doing, that he hasn't met his grandchildren, nor has Jamie Hairston. So I really don't, you know, have any sympathy in my heart there for that. But the best 2 reasons to deny parole to Johnie Johnson are right here: Gene Murphy and Taylor Hairston. And 40 years is a very appropriate, if not generous, sentence for what Mr. Johnson did. And really the only way for justice to be served in this case is for Mr. Johnson to serve his 40 years. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, Mr. Johnson, your case was assigned to me, so I have just a few questions and then I'll defer to my colleagues. How long had you worked for the, how long were you a deputy?
17 and a half years.
So all the training that's been referenced, you were afforded all those training opportunities through the law enforcement training academy.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And we talked about programs, and one of which I didn't hear was victim awareness. Have you taken any victim awareness training classes?
Yes, ma'am, I have.
Well, what did
What
you
I
get
learned-
out of, what did you get out of it?
There's never just one victim. With Gene and Taylor, they're victims, the rest of their family, as well as my family and my kids. Because, I mean, with me being in here, I can't be there to support them. There's no way that I could apologize enough to them. In my last hearing, I did. And although the story has changed a little bit since what actually happened, I mean, I know that when I testified in court, in front of Judge Mosley, a lot of the things that I said in that courtroom, now with Taylor and Gene, they're kind of twisting it around a little bit because that's not exactly what happened.
Right. I've heard from your friends that spoke on your behalf that you've been doing everything you can to make amends. Tell us what that has been.
You know, I can't reach out to either one of them, but I've done all the schools that I could do. I pray regularly that God will forgive me and they will be able to forgive me. That's all that I know that I can do.
And one more question is, it has been said this morning that you have more than paid your dues. Do you agree with that?
Yes, ma'am. I think I have. I know back prior to 1995, the most you could get for manslaughter was 21 years, and you only did a third of that. But since they changed the sentencing guidelines and all, I feel like I have done my time. I'm very remorseful for what I've done. I still have problems sleeping at times because of what happened that day. And I hate it for Taylor and Gene. I mean, I can't go back. That's the only thing I can move forward and maybe make amends to them in another way. That's to be seen.
All right, I have no other questions. Second.
Ask you something. You said that the young men, her sons, Taylor and Gene, that they twisted facts. Let me ask you something. Did you go over to her house?
I went back to the house that morning because I was returning their rods and reels they had left in my boat.
Okay,
And
so
I
y'all got into what? An argument?
Oh, she stood out there on the side of on my truck because of course, they printed and DNA and everything. We was out there for over an hour. At that time, Mr. Hairston.
I'm just going to quickly go through a progression things because you said they twisted facts. Okay, so there was a verbal argument by the side of your truck. You said you were returning rods and reels and stuff. Y'all had broken up. You had
Right.
been let go from the sheriff's office. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And because y'all were arguing so bad, there were some problems with that, and they didn't think that you were fit for duty. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so must have been pretty hot over something like that. So
Yes, ma'am.
she was the cause actually of you being fired because of this going on between y'all. It reflected on you being a sheriff's deputy, and then you got fired.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you're over there, you're doing rods and wheels, y'all broken up. You go in the house? What brings you in the house?
No, what happened was we had been talking out there for about an hour.
Uh-huh.
And at that time, Mr. Harrison came to get Taylor for a visitation. Okay. I had
I
gone
tell you
over there.
what, I'm not gonna pick up a lot of times. I want to ask this. So did you pick her up and put her in the truck? Or did you pick her up? Like Gene said.
Let me tell you before that. We went into the shed in the back because I was going to disconnect my electricity because it was going to be moved the next week. That I had a storage shed that was built and moved. Okay. Once we got in there, she said, "Don't you love me? Don't you miss me?" And I said, "Yes, I do. You know I do." We had consensual sex, which was proven in the trial. And they said that, I mean, when we got through, we went around and she went in the front of the house and she said, "Gene, get your gun, call 911. He just raped me." And I'm going, "I didn't rape you." And she said, "Who do you think they're going to believe, me or you?"
Okay.
That's how I had originally met her, was on a call where she had lied on a guy.
Let me ask, let's just skip to the part. How did you get your gun and shoot her at the residence? How did that happen?
Okay,
And skip everything else, just that part.
When I went into the house, I was not armed at all.
Okay.
When I got in there, she told Gene, she said, "Get your gun, dial 911. He just raped me."
Okay.
Gene went to go get the gun, but I didn't know that his gun cabinet was locked. I didn't know anything like that. And I said, "Jamie, come on, let's go outside. Let's talk. You know, you're losing your mind here." So we get outside, and I didn't know if Gene was coming with the gun right then or whatever.
Okay.
I got my gun out of my truck, and I took her behind the house. That's when I shot her.
Why her? She was unarmed.
That's when I just lost all cool reflection. I mean, that was a heat of the moment thing. I mean, I said, I can't, my mind was going, I know, because that's how I met her to begin with. She lied on somebody else.
All right, so I'm going to finish questioning, and Gene and Taylor, thank you for your comments about your mother and how your life has was changed forever on that day. And it takes a lot of bravery to do that. Thank you for coming forward. That's all I needed to know.
I have no question.
All right, and I don't see any other questions, Mr. Johnson. I think we are prepared to vote. Your case was mine, so I'll be voting first. My vote today, Mr. Johnson, is going to be to deny your parole. There's lots of opposition that you've heard today. There's more in the record that we have by law enforcement and others. What got me today is you seem to be blaming Ms. Hairston for what happened to her. I think, I don't think that you're being accountable for what happened. So my vote today is to deny your parole.
I concur with this, Mr. Johnson.
Mr. Freeman.
I concur, law enforcement opposition and victim opposition.
All right, Mr. Johnson, today your parole's been denied, sir.
Okay.
Okay, good morning. Mr. Sam, would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and your DOC number, please.
Yes, ma'am. Kevin Sam, DOC number 504-502.
All right, Mr. Sam, good morning. Let me acknowledge the folks who are here with us in Baton Rouge that are here on your behalf. You have your mother and your father, and you also have nephew Kevin, who's here with us today, and all of them want to speak on your behalf. You're
Okay. My uncle.
You're Kevin. Oh, he's your nephew.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. They had nephew on. Now you were the nephew. And you folks. So you are Cynthia Sam. Kyrie. Okay. And what's your? Oh, your daughter. I don't have her listed. All right. Well, they'll all be speaking on your behalf at the appropriate time. We also have joining us by Zoom, a representative from the DA's office in Jefferson Parish, Mr. Meyer, and he'll be speaking also at the appropriate time. First, let me just read some identifying information, Mr. Sam. You are classified as a third felony offender. You're currently serving a 9-year, 2-month, and 14-day sentence. You were sentenced originally 2006, I believe, and were revoked. And so in 2017, you were sentenced to that 9 years possession with intent to distribute marijuana. So your parole eligibility date is at our discretion because of the revocation, and your good time release date is March 18, 2027. Does that sound right to you?
It was up, the release date is updated, ma'am.
He has earned some CTRP credit, good time credit, so his date now is 11/18/26.
Okay, good. All right. Yep, we didn't have that update. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am.
So, so Mr. Sam, tell us before we get started on our interview, tell us, why are you in jail? Tell us about the drugs, what you've done since, why were you revoked, and what you've done since.
Okay, well, I'm in prison because I was out there doing the wrong thing, selling drugs, and ultimately it led me back to prison once again. I hadn't learned my lesson the first time, but this time around, I had a long time to be able to think about my life, and I actually wrote a statement because I thought about long and hard what would I say because my freedom's on the line, and I didn't want to leave anything out. So if I'm able, I would like to be able to read the statement that I wrote.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, here it is. First and foremost, I want to thank this committee for granting me the privilege of this parole hearing. Secondly, I can't express enough how sincerely remorseful I am for my actions that placed me in prison yet again, and I take full responsibility for them. During my 8 years of incarceration, I've identified the triggers connected to my recidivist behavior and have since been committed to rehabilitation. The process started when I reflected on some advice I received from my psychiatrist, Dr. Sinek in Baton Rouge, about being reserved and holding things within. He encouraged me to write down my inner thoughts. I wish I would have acted upon his counseling back then because when I finally did so, it led me to gradually open up, which ultimately inspired me to write a novel, which I have today right here. And more significantly, approach life with a new perspective. That experience helped me to recognize my flaws of how creating a contingency-free plan and having a mindset of refusing to work for anyone, nor ask for help or handouts is a recipe for recidivism. It also helped me to understand why it's imperative to contact my support system in time of need and be forthcoming with my support group whose only objective is to sustain my sobriety. My perception nowadays is that no man is an island, and having a prideful attitude can indirectly contribute to relapsing. Therefore, I'm grateful for my support team, in addition to Dr. Sinek's words of wisdom, because they were instrumental in the transformation of my frame of mind. Now I'm able to appreciate employment and embrace my job offers, one specifically since it aligns with the certificate I received from the Culinary Arts Program. And accepting either offer would ease my transition back into society. It finally registered to me that no amount of drugs, illegally obtained money, or other addiction could ever account for the freedom I've lost or further stand to lose. As I regretfully sit isolated from society, some of the most relevant events I treasure persist. I've lost both grandmothers. My father's fighting cancer. My mother, as y'all can see, she's aging gracefully, and my children have grown into young adults, and I became a grandfather to a boy I'm eager to meet and help raise. And I like to emphasize my desire to reunite with my children, to be proactive in their lives and help guide them to remain as law-abiding citizens. At the age of 50, I'm still healthy with a sound mind, which enables me time to flourish. And I got to make every second count. So I vow to myself and family to never partake in any unlawful activities ever again. And moving forward, what matters most to me is utilizing those seconds, creating new memories with them, making amends with my community by mentoring to the youth alongside the 200 male leaders of New Orleans organization, writing more novels, and living life in tranquility. And in my pursuit of lifelong recovery, I plan to attend AA meetings weekly and more days whenever time permits, excuse me. And in closing my plea for parole, or if possible, an unconditional discharge, I wish to thank each of you for your time and consideration, and may God continue to bless you and your loved ones.
All right, thank you. Well done. You put a lot of thought into that. We appreciate it. Warden, what can you tell us about Mr. Sam?
Mr. Sam has been here at Wade since September of 24. He's been, like you said, back incarcerated since 17. He has not received any write-ups, and therefore he's not a disciplinary issue. He had completed the reentry program, which moved his date up, but he's currently in anger management and parenting, which will end in May the 2nd, which will give him additional credits. And then he completed a 12-step program in March of this year, I'm sorry. He's not a disciplinary problem at all.
Okay, well, good to hear. Thank you. So now we'd like to hear from your family. Could we hear from first Uncle Kaplan? Yes, sir. Would you stand? Mr. Higgins, yes, go ahead. Tell us what you'd like us to know.
Yeah, I'm Dr. Kevin Higgins, and I sent a letter to express my fear for my support for Terrell. We call him Terrell, but I'm his namesake. What I've seen, and I have 20 years of military experience, I can tell you I've seen a lot in my career. I've seen inmates that will come in, even working with my church. They don't change. They make excuses. They're locked down for decades. And even after being locked down for that period of time, they still feel that they were right and justified in doing what they did. Terrell, and I'm not saying it because he's my nephew, but I've seen a physical transformation of his mindset, which drives his actions. If you don't change your mind, you're going to go right back into doing what you were doing before. And that's not what I see in him. I've seen others that is just the opposite. He mentioned something about his children. He wants to reunite with his children. He's blessed and very fortunate because his children are on his side. It's easy for them to just say, forget you, Papa, forget you, Dad. But that's not what's happening. One of them is here right now. All of them couldn't be here because we wanted to have others to speak on his behalf. But I know this about him, that he is remorseful. And over the years, he's talked to me about this over and over again, and he's explained to me what happened. I didn't understand it, but he explained to me how it happened and how it won't happen. I live in Houston, and although I live in Houston, I will be his support system. I will make sure that he stays on track, as if I'm still in the military. So although he's 50, he's about to go through basic training. And I'm going to make sure, and I was a military training instructor, also the smoking bear hats on. I know what it takes to motivate, and I know what it takes to keep him on track. It's not always easy, but life is not easy. And he's going through 8 years of not a bad experience. My job is to be that support system to make sure that he never returns. It showed him the value of family and what it means. That's all I have to say. If you have any questions for me?
Yes, sir. Thank you for being here. Miss Cynthia Sam?
First, I want to say thank you for allowing us to be here today. And my son Terrell, I love very dearly. Okay, he has made bad choices in his life, but throughout the years he's been in there, what I've seen is growth. I talk to him about every day, sometimes 3, 4, 5 times a day. And he just, I don't know, I got chills right now because he tries to keep me, Mom, it's gonna be okay. And like I said, my brother said, when I said, this is so new. He talks to people all the time, other family members, old and young, and he's trying to tell them, don't do what I did. He's trying to turn them around and say, y'all don't want to be up again. You know, do the right thing. Think before you do what you do. And you know, then you'll be okay. This guy right here, he's like glue to our family. He's 50 years old. You know, he keep us together all the time. You know, when we need advice from everybody, he's always, I mean, and I'm not saying that because he's my son, I love him. He always got the right thing to say, Mama, don't worry. He said he went through this 12-step program. Other programs he got credit for. This one he didn't, but this is the one that impacted him more than anything. And he got it just like that. He said, Mom, like he talks to me about it all the time, like it's a 12-step program. What is that? But this thing has really changed him. I know my son's gonna do the right thing because it's in him to do the right thing. He's not a bad person. He just made a bad choice. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Now we'd like to hear from Kyrie, please.
I'm Kyrie. I'm sort of, Kevin's always about in my household, we've grown up about fighting for a while, and that caused us to live a certain way. But without him being in our lives, I can say that it built character. And so I'm definitely a person I'm standing on integrity, to what I'm saying. So I wouldn't just try to defend my daddy when I know that he's wrong. But right now I'm standing before y'all today, and I can literally see drastic change in his heart, in his mind, in his spirit. And I know that God has done an amazing work in him. And I can't be like if I'm standing up here in y'all face today, Father, he's my father. He's not just a man who went to jail and he sold drugs. He's my father. He's somebody's father. He's somebody's husband. Most importantly, he's somebody's child, not just hers, but God's. And it's time for him to come home. In Jesus' name, it's time for him to come home. Me and our dad, I've witnessed him grow. I've grown. We've grown together. The way we speak on the phone, the conversations we have, I never thought that we'd have the conversations that we have. I'm excited for him to come home and be a father to us, to be a grandfather to my nephew who's so intelligent. Ooh, Jesus, like he has so much to do, so much to see, so much to accomplish. And I know he is. No, he can. And I want y'all to believe in him too and give us the opportunity to see us through. It's God. He has the final say. I could stand here and I could defend my daddy all day, but God is not defending. So at the end of the day, the Spirit is leading us to me. Jesus' name. I love you, Daddy. Going home. Thank you. Yes. Yes.
I love you too.
All right, Terrell, your case was assigned. No, there you are. Your case was assigned to Mr. Oh, is Mr. Meyer on the line with us?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, there you are. I'm sorry, I can't see you. We'd like to hear from you, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Randall Meyer, Assistant DA, Jefferson Parish. I submitted a letter based on the opportunity he was given while by being placed on probation. And the 2 times that he violated those terms that was developed. But based on the fact that he's completed C-foil and what I heard today, both from him and from the warden, we'll take no position.
All right, thank you, sir. We appreciate your participation. Now, Mr. Terrell, your case is assigned to Mr. Freeman. Would you answer any questions he has?
Okay, Okay, Mr. Sam, you called him Terrell and you mixed me up.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay, Kevin, I'm gonna just call you Mr. Sam. All right, Mr. Sam. I know
Yes,
you
sir.
went to Steve Hall. Did you relapse after Steve Hall? Did you get back on
Yes.
drugs? Okay.
Yeah.
And think this 12-step program got you on the right track?
Yes, yes, sir. You know, to be honest, sir, I felt it here at David Wade. You know, I never, you know, because like the way that I believe the 12-step program is so impactful is because it's short and it's straight to the point, and you tend to remember those things like that, you know, and the part where it talk about one of the steps where it talk about making amends, you know, first about talk about admitting your wrongs. So when I admit my wrongs, and my daughter right there that's in front of y'all, because God is all in her, you know, Lord have mercy. Anyway, it intends to make you open up. And when I made amends, I made a list of names and everything, all the people I made amends for. Like when I was talking about the psychiatrist, when I started writing, that opened me up in order to be able to deal with my grief that I had. But the 12-step program, it opened me up to be able to deal with all of the resentment I had, the things I was holding back from for people that was mad at me because of something that I did to them. Ain't that selfish? You know, so I was able to be able to get that program into me, and then the fellowship with those people into in the 12-step program, just to hear their stories and everything. It's just like a I can't even describe it. It's like it make you want to do the right thing.
Gotcha.
You know.
Okay, Mr. Sam, you know, and Mr. Myers mentioned that I was real concerned. Used to be in probation parole, and I saw you were revoked twice. You gonna pay attention to your officer this time?
Yes, sir. With everything in me.
Okay. You have no DBs, so that's great. How much time you did with the feds?
8 years and 8.5 years, I think, something like that.
Okay, how
8
long
years,
you been locked up straight?
for since December the 20th, 2016 till today.
Till today. Okay, that's what I was trying to figure out. So you've been in jail approximately almost 9 years.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm gonna tell you, I was when I first looked at your case, I was real skeptical, very skeptical. Being a third felony offender, having a long rap sheet, bad poor supervision, but your support group is just unbelievable. And I think you need to be very thankful for that. And I have no further questions.
I have none. Ready to vote, Mr. Freeman?
Okay, Mr. Sam, I'm gonna tell you, you gotta thank those 3 people sitting right there in that front row, right by me. Because I came in here with the opinion that you didn't want to listen to nobody, you wasn't right, you were getting revoked from parole and probation. But my vote today is gonna be to give you a chance. I'm a vote to grant content with the condition that he complete those 2 classes that he's in. I think you said you get out in May of them classes.
Yes, yes, sir.
I want them classes completed before he's released. So that's fine.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, and 3 AA meetings a week, and stay in touch with your probation officer.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Ms. Stapleton?
I concur with Mr. Freeman and your mama, your daughter, your uncle, and then also Mr. Meyer, who withdrew his opposition and took no opposition. That's a big deal, buddy, I gotta tell you. So everything that Mr. Freeman said, I can concur with.
I agree. Now, Warden, would you tell me the names of those 2 classes so I can write them on the vote sheet?
Anger management
Yes,
and
ma'am,
parenting.
anger management and parenting, and I believe he completes them May the 2nd.
Okay, great. All right. Well, good luck to you, sir. You've been granted parole. It was nice visiting with you today.
Thank you, all 3 of y'all and those 3 beautiful people standing in front of y'all.
All right,
Ms.
Warden,
Conrad,
thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you.
on this. On the rest of your day.
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
All right, good morning. Committee on Parole is reconvening. We're at Jefferson Parish Correctional Center. Today is May the 8th, 2025. It's 10:07 a.m. Would the staff, the officer there in Jefferson, please introduce yourself for the record?
Good morning, ma'am. My name is Agent Jermaine Wilson from East Jefferson District Probation and Parole.
All right, thank you. Officer Wiltz. Appreciate it. Is this Joshua?
Yes, ma'am. I'm here for the Joshua Livaudais case.
Livaudais, okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, we appreciate it. All right, Joshua, would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and DOC number.
I'm Joshua Livaudais, 707-890.
All right, you're here for a revocation decision this morning, and do you have a parole revocation questionnaire there with you?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, is that your signature at the bottom of that page?
Yes, it is.
Based on the information contained in that questionnaire and your responses, it was determined you're not eligible for appointed counsel this morning. So are you ready to proceed with the hearing without an attorney?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
All right, let me just, before we get started, I want to recognize the folks that have joined us. Monica Termine, your mother, Armando Monroe, your Amanda, I guess, Monroe, your child's mother, Joshua Hunter, a friend, and your parole officer, Mr. Wiltz. This morning, Mr. Livaudais, your case has been assigned to Mr. Freeman, so I'm going to just turn it over to him.
Okay, Mr. Livaudais, the first thing I'm gonna do is read your violation and get you to plead guilty or not guilty. And then if you want to make a statement, we'll get into it and I'll ask you some questions about it. First off, it is alleged that you are in violation of condition number 4 of your parole supervision and evidenced by your arrest by the Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office on 3/8/25 and being charged with domestic abuse battery of a pregnant victim and 5 traffic attachments. How do you plead to those charges?
To the domestic, sir, not guilty.
Right, and you admit you had some traffic attachments?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Before I ask you some questions, I see your parole officers here. Mr. Wiltz, would you like to make a statement?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for acknowledging me. I just want to say I've been supervising Mr. Livaudais since July of 2024. He's been a model subject that I supervise. I haven't had any issues. He works every day. He's working for himself and he works for a business. Up until this incident, I've never had any issues with Mr. Livaudais whatsoever.
And he called you and advised you of this situation, correct? You didn't have to find out?
That is correct. Unfortunately, I was, we're off duty on a Saturday morning, but I saw that I had a missed call. I called Mr. Livaudais back. He told me that there was a verbal altercation between Ms. Monroe and Mr. Livaudais. So I was aware of it Saturday. He even called me that Saturday afternoon and told me that the police was looking to arrest him. So I was well aware of what was going on. I advised him to go ahead and turn himself in. Again, I didn't think that it was going to go as far as it's going as we are today. I had a different take on the situation, but the hearing officer felt that there was probable cause to have this hearing. I was well aware of what was going on. I've seen Mr. Livaudais on 2 different occasions, first to acknowledge his guilt or innocence if he wanted to revoke himself or not, and then also through the preliminary hearing with the hearing officer. So I'm well aware of the situation.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Livaudais, so you and your girlfriend, has she had the child yet?
No, sir.
Okay, y'all still speak to each other?
As of now, we have a stay away order. We haven't been speaking, sir.
Okay. Okay. What's your plans for her if you don't get revoked? What are y'all plans for the future?
As far as, I'm willing to do therapy and counseling with her, that way we can, come to some kind of, neutral grounds for our child and for the sake of, each other, so that this doesn't happen again.
Okay, and tell me what happened, in your own words, what went down that day?
Me and my friend, we went grocery shopping. I came home. Me and her had gotten an argument about the cleanliness and woman duties and stuff like that, and if she was gonna cook. And we got into an altercation. She went to turn and walk away. She tripped over a bag of groceries and actually hit her face on the freezer door that was open while we were unpacking groceries.
They did. What about the steak throwing? Who threw the steak?
She did throw a steak at my face.
Oh. Okay, I have no further questions.
Thank you. I don't have any questions either.
Who called the police?
Initially, I believe she called the police the next day, but when I was advised that she was going to contact the police, when I told my probation officer, he advised me that it would be in my best interest to contact the police and turn myself in, and that's exactly what I did.
All right, good deal. All right, I don't have any other questions. We'll hear from the folks who are here. Could we hear from Miss Monica, Joshua's mother? She was on, she may have dropped off, so let's move on to Miss Monroe. Is she?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Now we can. Go ahead.
Okay. I mean, I corroborate everything he said. It was an upsetting time that we were having, and like we were verbally arguing, and I mean that's exactly what happened. People make mistakes, and I shouldn't have done that. So, but that's exactly what happened. Is just what he said. I corroborate that.
I know he said you each have protective orders.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you fearful of him?
No, ma'am. I'm not a victim. No, I'm not a victim here. There was no abuse that ever happened.
Okay. All right, thank you. Mr. Hunter, can we hear from you, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead. What would you like us to know?
Exactly what he said. That's what happened. It was just they was mad at each other. I guess I get like that's exactly what happened. Though we came back from grocery shopping and we was putting up the groceries, all the bags on the kitchen floor, and she threw a steak at him, and she turned around to go walk off and tripped over a bag and hit her face on the freezer door while we was putting groceries up. And then he told her leave, and she left, gave him his key, and packed the stuff and left. And the next day, I guess it was just acted out of anger, I don't really, that's exactly what happened, know what he said.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Did Miss Monica ever get in?
She's in, but she's.
All right. Well, I think we're prepared to vote. Mr. Freeman?
Okay, Mr. Livaudais, we hear a lot of stories and a whole bunch of things, but I'm kind of believing this one to be honest with you. You go the ex-girlfriend or current girlfriend, whatever. I mean, she acknowledges what happened. Your friend says the exact same thing happened. Your probation officer, I think, with talking to him, I think he's confident that he can work with you. So my vote today is to not revoke. And if y'all stay together, I suggest y'all go to counseling and don't say womanly duties anymore. That's gonna get you in trouble every time, son, I can tell you.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
My vote there is do not revoke.
Ms. Stapleton.
I concur with everything Mr. Freeman just said.
And I also agree. So today, sir, you're going to be returned to supervision. Good luck to you.
I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all very much.
All right, Johnson?
Yes, ma'am. How you doing?
Yeah. Okay, we're ready for you. You ready for us now?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Tell us your name and DOC number, please, sir.
My name is Terrell Johnson. My DOC number is 721101.
All right, we're here for a revocation decision today. And excuse me, do you have your paperwork with you, a parole revocation questionnaire?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that your signature at the bottom of that page?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
And based on that information, it was determined you're not eligible for appointed counsel today. So are you ready to proceed without a lawyer?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Okay. So this morning, let me acknowledge first you have your friend Kimberly Gard, who's here, and we're going to call on her in just a moment. She wants to speak on your behalf. So Mr. Johnson, your case was assigned to Ms. Stapleton. She's going to go over the alleged violations, and she'll have some questions for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Mr. Johnson, good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Read the rule violations and you'll be able to answer that you plead guilty or not guilty or with a statement. Not guilty. I mean, guilty with a statement, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
You moved from your address of record and did not provide a new address to your parole officer. Guilty, not guilty, or guilty with a statement?
Only reason I would say not guilty because I didn't move to another address, but
you didn't another address, is that right?
I didn't. Yeah, yes, ma'am. I didn't even have an address to go to after that.
Okay. Were you homeless?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you're pleading. You didn't know where you were, is that right?
Yes, ma'am. That's true.
All right, so guilty with a statement.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we'll put that, and I'll put homeless by the side, okay?
Thank you.
Okay. All right, the next one is gonna be, you were arrested by College Station Police Department in Texas, sometimes in August for assault, family violence, and public intoxication. The charge of assault, family violence under cause number 240126667 was dismissed on January the 9th, 2025. How do you, there's just gonna be another one, but how do you plead for that? What's your plead on that?
I plead not guilty, and I have that case dismissal on me as well. I plead not guilty because when I was in Texas, so I only went there because my mom is the only address I have. And when I was in Louisiana, my sister was staying on Elm and Laurel Street, like a high crime drug area and all that, and it was going on in her house. And like, if my parole officer would have came and like seen all that, I would have got revoked from being around criminal activity. Plus, I was trying to do better, and like they was used to me being an old person, so I really.
So, let me ask you something right now.
Yes,
okay, so but your sister's at the address he knew, but it was a crime-ridden area. But you moved to Texas. Did you tell your parole officer about that?
With all honesty, I man, and I apologize for.
Are you really guilty?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you for being honest. Okay, all right, let's move forward. Okay, this is another. You were arrested on 8/1/2024 for assault Class C, misdemeanor Class C, and on 8/11/2024 for resisting arrest, search and transport from Brazos County, indicating that you were indicted under docket number 24-03048-CRM-CCL2 with resisting arrest, search, or transport. And then you pled guilty under docket number 24-03048-CRM-CCL2 to resisting arrest, search, or transport, and was sentenced to 60 days in the Brazos County Jail. Guilty or not guilty to that?
Yes, ma'am, I am guilty to that. I served 6 months in Brazos County Detention Center for that. And I just gotta say, I mean, will you allow me to explain? I have a statement on that.
Okay, go ahead. Because we're gonna do it later. Go ahead.
All right, thank you. My so it was like a bad environment where I was at when I went to go see my mom, because I know I wasn't supposed to leave, and I apologize to the state of Louisiana, the board. I'm really sorry, but I really didn't have nowhere else to go. My mom is the only address I have, and I apologize for not telling the board, my parole officer, with all integrity and honesty, generosity, for real. I really do. But my stepdad was like, he was like manipulating my mom and like doing all type of crazy stuff, like in the house due to his drug use and stuff.
Am I right, Mom? Now your sister lived in a crime-ridden area in the place in Louisiana.
Yes, ma'am.
So both of them live in a crime-ridden area.
No, my mom don't live in a crime-ridden area. It just was going on in her house with my stepdad. We ended up getting into an altercation because, yes, ma'am. I'm sorry to cut you off. We just ended up getting into an altercation because like he know that I wasn't gonna let him just keep disowning my mom like that. So we had a disagreement, and then he ended up pulling a knife on me and all this crazy stuff. And we had a situation, and the people that was at the park on Starling's Street called the cops on us. And I got the case dismissal with Miss Kimberly Gard at the jail. He signed the affidavit letting them know that he was the one that got into me. I didn't fight him. And I was just under a lot of distress in that situation too.
Okay, so he was the aggressor.
Yes, ma'am.
And all. Okay, all right, now number 9, let's see. You absconded supervision and moved to Texas without permission from your parole officer on or before 8/1/2024. Guilty, not guilty, or guilty with a statement?
Yeah, guilty with a statement, ma'am. I'm sorry, I apologize.
And that's the one where you went to your mom's house to protect her, but you didn't call your parole officer? Is that the same situation, or was it a different situation?
Well, I went to my mom's house, not just to protect her, but I went to my mom's house because that was the only like place that I had to live safely. Because if I walk around and be in the streets in Louisiana, I got shot down there down here. My mom got shot down here. My mom whole case is on the Louisiana law library. Her name is Johnie Johnson. I got on IV drugs down here. It's like I felt like I couldn't make it, but I was supposed to come to y'all and supposed to come to my probation. I'm sorry. I'm just used to rejection and being like just caught in the system. And I'm sorry. I was supposed to do that. I'm sorry. But I went to my mom's house for that. With honesty, I'm gonna say this. With honesty, because I understand, like, you can't pull a wool over. I can't pull a wool over you guys' eyes. So I'm gonna just tell you the real. I went out there with like, I'm gonna just hurry up and go out here, get my life together, and come back without my PO probably noticing, because it's gonna be hard for me to do that in Louisiana. I'm not trying to lie and all that. I can't do that with you. I just thought that was what I was gonna do, like hurry up and get myself together, because I can't. I felt like I couldn't do it down here due to resources, me being in these areas. So I was like, I'm gonna just go with my mom, and I did it the wrong way, and I apologize for that.
Okay, thank you for your honesty. Now, listen, you're currently $569 in in supervision arrears as of 2/17/2025. Guilty with it.
Yes, ma'am. I'm guilty of that because I didn't have any income. But I got another letter too from Jay-Z Team Rock right here. It's like through music and poetry. I don't know if y'all can see it, but this a letter from them. I usually do music and poetry. So that's what I have to do. Like, that's far as entrepreneur and career state, I got that. Plan B's to work. I have statements from the public defender's office after I was done with the case by Ms. Deborah Badden and Ms. Sarah Petrus. So like, they're willing to, I don't know if y'all can see this, but they wrote this up for me. It's a PC statement. If you mind me reading it out, I could wait.
No, go ahead and read it.
All right, so it says, January 14, 2025, to whom it may concern, the Brazos County Public Defender's Office represented Terrell Cortez for his charge of resisting arrest, search, or transport in cause number 24-03048-CRM-CCL2. During his stay in the Brazos County Detention Center, Mr. Johnson had no prior disciplinary issues. Before the Louisiana parole hold was placed on Terrell, he requested substance abuse treatment. Terrell was accepted to the Adult Teen Challenge program in Brenham, Texas, and he planned to go there upon his release. Once Terrell resolves his parole status in the state of Louisiana, our office is willing to continue to work with him to assist him in getting substance abuse treatment. Mr. Johnson was a pleasure to work with, and we will wish him all the best moving forward. Sincerely, Sarah P. Himmelstead and Mrs. Deborah Batten.
Okay, that's very good. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's hear from Miss Kimberly Gard and see what she has to say. Miss Kimberly.
Good morning. This is my first time doing this, so if you need to coach me in things, please do that. But so I met Mr. Johnson, gonna say more than 6 months ago at the Brazos County Jail. Myself and members from my church come in on Saturdays and hold church services. And Mr. Johnson was very faithful to come and made a connection with the men that come in and preach and teach. And I do know one thing about, people that get caught up in the system, and I do understand that it's easy in jail, but getting out of jail, there's so much. There's so much with supervision and all the things that have to take place, and a support system. There's two things that make a person successful after incarceration, and that's number one, a support system, and number two, a made up mind of that individual. I really strongly feel like Mr. Johnson has a made up mind. to really do right and do better from the very beginning. He would hold back from the services and talk to my son and the other men that were there, and always expressing how he just did not want to be in Louisiana. He just did not feel like he could thrive and make it. And by connecting with the men and so forth in our services, we are very willing as a church, as a group, to be a support system to him. Our church is, we have many, many, many people that own their own business. We have an 18-year-old boy that owns his own junk removal business, and he will employ people from the jail, and he has. He's very willing to do that. We are very willing to not just pick Mr. Johnson up and bring him to church, but be a friend, be a support system, and be what he needs to be successful. We have many people in our church, in our group, in this setting that have come from places just like Mr. Johnson. And we know what it takes. We know that it takes, a phone to be in your possession, to reach out to parole. It takes transportation to get to the meetings. It takes a lot of things. And so the best I can offer is support for Mr. Johnson. And then of course, number two, Mr. Johnson definitely to myself and my son, has showed determination to do better. He actually called me a couple weeks ago, and my son was here at the house, and they spoke on the phone, and I wasn't privy to the phone call necessarily because he left the room, but he expressed to me, my son expressed to me, my son's 28, and he expressed to me, man, I really want to help that guy. I hope he gets back here. And support system is very, very important. And I just want to say we are very willing to do that for him. I believe he's very sincere. He's been honest. He's communicated with the church, and we just want to be that for him. So are there any questions you have for me?
I just have one, Ms. Gard. What is the name of your faith community?
First Pentecostal Church of Bryan.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
That's all we have. So, Mr. Johnson.
Yes, ma'am.
So it's your desire to land in Texas? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, ma'am. But when I get out of, if God willing and you guys grant me liberation, if that's so, I'll do it when I get out, so it don't prolong my stay, because I don't want to be in jail longer if I'm granted my liberation. But I do want to transfer to I talked to the district at Brazos County Court with the judge, Mr. Brick, the Honorable Judge Brick, and they said that I was more than welcome to come. It's
not up to the judge. It's up to it's called an interstate compact.
Yes,
and that's an agreement between the state of Louisiana and the state of Texas. And there is a process you have to go through to get that approval. It doesn't come from the judge.
Yeah.
And I agree, you don't need to be in Louisiana. I agree with what Ms. Gard said. It seems like you seem to have some kind of support group and a faith community that wants to help you out. And Louisiana is probably not the place for you to be, but that you have to go through the process in the right way. We can't just let you go and you go to Texas, because you gotta get approval first.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. But I have this another thing I have too. All right. So the mother of my child, August, his mom name is Jamara Nisha Burnett, and she stayed 1832 O'Reilly Street, zip code 70116, New Orleans, Louisiana. And she agreed to me coming there until I get my interstate compact.
All right, listen to me. I'm not willing to let you do that.
I'm sorry.
I'm not willing to let you do that. You don't need to be in that area.
Yes, ma'am.
What I want to do, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna just go before my colleagues. My thought is to send you to a work release program so that you can, you know, you'll still be in custody, but you'll be able to earn a little bit of money. You'll be able to start the process for your interstate compact in Texas. I think you'll have, your mom's still in Texas?
Yes, ma'am, she is.
Because you have to go to a relative's house, so you'll have to go live with her until you can work something else out. Because you need her support. But I would like for you to start that process because there is a fee involved.
But I appreciate. Well, I just got one more statement. So I got. a
Talk
friend of
yourself
mine-
out of it. You're gonna talk yourself out of it.
Yes, ma'am.
She's gonna come up with a good solution here, okay? She's been doing this.
Because otherwise you're gonna be revoked and you're gonna serve the rest of your time in jail.
Yes, I'm sorry.
I'm trying to give you a shot because your record is not good. You have a history of revocation. I understand what you're saying about the poor neighborhoods and you were homeless and all this kind of stuff. I'm trying to help.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry.
Good job. All right, so that's my vote, is that in lieu of revocation, you go do a transitional work program, which is work release. And at the same time, you're to work on your interstate compact. There's somebody there that will help you do that. And then when you are eventually released after approval of that transfer to Texas, after it's approved, you'll have a special condition that you must connect with the First Pentecostal Church of Bryan.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
that's where your support group is gonna be. So
Yeah.
I'm just one vote, but that's what I want to do to try to help you out.
I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
And I concur with Ms. Renata, and I am so glad she's here today because they got years of experience and they can come up with solutions that I would never be able to. So I'm grateful and yeah.
All right, Mr. Freeman.
Being the probation officer in the prior revocations and absconding. And I find violated condition number 4 and 9, my vote is to revoke.
All right, so you got 2 votes that were do not revoke, 1 vote to revoke. We can do it with a majority. So today, in lieu of revocation, we're going to send you to a work release program and allow you time to work on that interstate compact to Texas.
Thank you.
Saying all that, we're going to send you a copy of all this paperwork, so you'll have it all in writing.
They're giving you a heck of a chance, man.
Don't
So
disappoint.
don't
us.
disappoint.
I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Ms.
All right, that concludes our business in Jefferson. Thank you so much for accommodating us. We're going to sign off at 10:39.
Have a good one. Appreciate that. Yes, you too.